Good morning, friends. Today, let us see the concept of ecology and environment. In this, we are going to see the topics like some of the important institutions like IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, followed by CITES. Then, a very important organization again is called as Traffic. These are some of the institutions that are associated with the protection of biodiversity. Biodiversity. Let us see in brief what do you mean by the IUCN, what are the duties of IUCN, what is this organization, what are the functions, roles, and all these things here, along with another organization like sites, then followed by traffic. The idea of conservation of the nature started as early as the birth of United Nations Organization. UN was started in the year 1945. Right from 1948 itself, the organization called as IUCN has started. International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. It's a very important organization which is not the governmental organization. It is a combination of both non-governmental organizations along with the governmental institutions. Today, as on today, there are more than 1300 institutions that are associated. See, this is the one. There are 1300 institutions that are associated with the IUCN, where they are working for IUCN all over the world. All the world countries are having the institution called as IUCN. Now, out of these 1300 institutions, 1000 institutions are related to NGO, the non-governmental organization, and around 300 institutions which are related to the governmental organizations. Now, let us see some of the very important governmental related institutions which are working for IUCN in India. One is called as the Botanical Survey of India. The Botanical Survey of India will be sharing the information with IUCN regarding the species that are present here in India. Not only this one, the Zoological Survey of India is also working for IUCN. The Forest Survey of India is working for IUCN. Also, you can find the Wildlife Survey of India. This is also working for IUCN. Likewise, when you take the case of India, these are the governmental organization. In the same manner, in many countries, in almost all the world countries, the governmental institutions are sharing their data with IUCN. Therefore, it is a worldwide accepted institution. This is a very important organization. Now, let us see the brief history when it has started. Initially, it was started its headquarters working at France. Initially, it was established in the year 1948 in the country called as France. Later, it was shifted to the next very important. Right now, the present headquarters is Glad at Switzerland. This is the Europe's greenest building according to IUCN. This is about the introduction for IUCN. The IUCN is having 6 commissions. One commission on education and communication. The next one is called as Commission on Ecosystem Management. The third one, Commission on Environmental, Economic and Social Policy. The fourth one, the Species Survival Commission. Fifth, World Commission on Environmental Law. The last one, which is very important one, called as World Commission on Protected Areas. These are the very important priority areas where IUCN is working. Let us see in brief all the commissions. What are the duties of this one? The moment when we talk about IUCN, the question that comes in our mind is only the red data list that comes in the mind of a civil service aspirant. But apart from the red data list, there are some other lists that have been prepared by IUCN. The first one, let us see the first one, the Commission on Education and Communication. The Commission on Education and Communication, where it brings a lot of awareness in the world countries regarding the biodiversity of the region. If the biodiversity of any specific country or any region is not been well protected. Now these are the people where they go to that particular region, they bring a very great awareness among the people about their landscape management and the importance of the ecosystem there. The next one is called as the Commission on Ecosystem Management. It is the commission which harmonizes the nature conservation, and it not only brings the social harmony and the cultural awareness among the people, it brings economic justice concern to the human societies. Like it is basically talking about the human welfare. It talks about the human welfare in the locality. I'll give you a very classical example, the best example. Way back in the year 2004, there was a very great event in the world called as tsunami, which devastated the Southeast Asia. Not only Southeast Asia, even the eastern coastal part of India. Now, these people, the IUCN, the NGO, the IUCN, these people came to India and they have developed a program called as MFF program. What this MFF program is? A Mangroves for Future. This is a program where it has started here in the Tamil Nadu region. Thereby, the financial support has been given to the people of the local people there, and thereby building the life again, thereby building the life in those regions. This is what the activity of IUCN. This is a very important livelihood opportunity program. The next one is called as the Commission on Environmental, Economic and Social Policy. This is the one which is talking about the changing of the lifestyle. Means what? How a society needs to develop in a given locality, where they are talking about influencing, encouraging and assisting societies in the sense means what? If a society is not following the ecological type of lifestyle, these people ask the people ask the societies to go in ecological model, like the development of renewable energy sources, the development of renewable energy sources in the locality. Even for this development, if they will be providing certain funds are being provided. This is the activity of CEESP. This is called as Commission of Environmental, Economic and Social Policy. The fourth one, which is very important, and all you people are well aware of this particular commission, is Species Survival Commission. What is the Species Survival Commission? It is the commission which is responsible for the release of the red data list, or popularly called as the red list. What is this red data list? This commission will be assessing all the flora and the fauna species of the all over the world, and it will be bringing certain criterias. Almost all, there are 9 such criteria where a species is present. It means what? It tells the threatened status of the species. If the species is least concern, no need to take care of about the species, or the species is critically endangered. What is the status of that particular species in that locality is being given in the red data list in the form of 9 criteria, and it is entrusted with the job of providing the red data list. Who is responsible for the red data list? It is the Species Survival Commission. The next one is called as the World Commission on Environmental Law. What is this World Commission on Environmental Law? Again, this is a very important organization, and the current related topic regarding this particular the World Commission on Environmental Law means what? It talks about the law related part of the nature. Means what? How the law is being implemented, what type of laws needs to be brought. This commission will be giving certain suggestions and guidance, and even advises the world countries to go for certain proper laws so that the nature can be protected well. And under this one only, where you can find one very important conservation congress, which is called as the World Conservation Congress, popularly called as WCC. What is World Conservation Congress? This is the body where it is responsible for the conducting of meeting of the world scientists for every 4 years. This will be speaking about this one in the next slide. And the last one is called as WCPA, World Commission on Protected Areas. What are these world protected areas and what is this commission? Now see this one. Just like the Species Survival Commission is responsible for the release of the data called as the red data list, now this particular commission, the World Commission on Protected Area, is responsible for the release of the green data list. All we people know only about the red data list. We never come across the green data list. Even there is a list called as green data list which is released by IUCN. What the green data? The red data talks about the species that are threatened on the surface of the earth, whereas the green data release the list of all the protected areas, like they'll be talking about the national parks, they'll be talking about the wildlife sanctuaries, they'll be talking about the biosphere reserve, what type of protection is being provided in that locality, whether the species or the entire locality is being protected well or not, is the responsibility of green data list under the World Commission on Protected Areas. Under the World Commission on Environmental Law, IUCN, World Conservation Congress started. Now let us talk about the current related part here. This World Conservation Congress, what is the importance of World Conservation Congress? Pay attention, this is very very important. World Conservation Congress normally used to conduct for every 4 years, 4 years once. It's a meeting of or the assembling of all the world scientists, world environmental scientists. Now, this is considered as the world's largest scientific conglomeration, where more than 10,000 world scientists will be meeting once in every 4 years. Once in every 4 years, where the world scientists will be meeting here, they'll be discussing, they'll be talking about what needs to be done, what type of programs needs to be brought here. Then they will be even suggesting what type of measures needs to be taken by the world so that the nature will be protected. Such a conference was planned to held in the year 2020 in the country called as France at a place Marseille, where it was scheduled from 11th to 19th of June. But this very world's largest scientific congregation is being postponed because of this COVID-19. The disease called as COVID-19, because of this corona lockdown, entire world has been locked down right now. Because of this one, what happened, this session was being postponed on 7th to 15th of January 2021. This is the World Conservation Congress, which is the world's largest meeting of the scientists. See, this is the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species, which has been given by Species Survival Commission, and this is the logo of this Red List. It will be evaluating all the flora and fauna. It will be evaluating all the flora and fauna of the world, and it will be releasing the list what type of species are under threat. This is the red list. How the species are being classified in the 9 criteria. Let us see the 9 criteria that are present here. Based upon the data available from the different parts of the world, how the species can be placed under which criteria. Now let us see this one, all species. This is what the all species. All species, first of all, they need to evaluate it. Evaluated, what do you mean by evaluated? Nothing but they need to be studied. There are certain species where the data is not available, therefore the study was not conducted properly. Therefore all the species can be classified into two groups. One is called as evaluated, another one is called as not evaluated. When there is data deficiency, means what, whenever the data is not available, whenever the information regarding the species is not available, therefore the study will not be conducted. Such species can be placed under the first category called as not evaluated. Those species which are evaluated further will be classified into two types, where greater data is available for these species. Almost all the information is there available with the scientific community, where this is called as data available species. The next one is called as the data deficient species, where the data regarding those species is not available. This is the second such criteria. For those species where the data is available, again they are classified into different types. Like the first one is called as extinct, represented by EX. What do you mean by extinct? Extinct is such a criteria where the species that are present on the surface of the earth got died due to the human action, where the species was already dead. Maybe because of the human activity, or maybe because of the nature's fury, or maybe because of certain factors. What happened, the species got extinct. Right now these species are not found on the surface of the earth. The best example, like dodo bird, the bird called as dodo, which was a native of Mauritius, Maldives region. Right now this is no more available for the study. Then also some other examples, like you can find passenger pigeon. The other one is called as the passenger pigeon. The next bird is called as passenger pigeon. Is very important bird. Again it is not found right now. It got extinct according to the records. The next category is extinct in wild, which is represented by EW. What do you mean by extinct in wild? In the natural habitation, for every species there is a home, which is called as habitat. Which is called as habitat. For every species there is a home, like this one. Maybe this is the home for this species. But right now in its home, in its habitation, this species got died. Means what? Got disappeared. The species is no more available in the original habitation. What do you mean by the species is not available in its original habitation? As the people are very much concerned about this species where the habitation is being destroyed, now some of the conservators, they uplifted the species to some other protected area in a controlled manner, where the species is being protected, where in the form of zoos, in the form of botanical garden. In the form of botanical garden means what? It is a ex situ type of conservation. What do you mean by ex situ? External the situation where the species is been uplifted from its natural habitation. It is been carefully brought under the control environment, and the species is being protected. This is what called as extinct in wild. The next criteria is critically endangered. In fact, the three criteria, like one is critically endangered, which is represented as CR. The next one is called as endangered, represented as EN. The third one is called as vulnerable. These are the very most concerned criteria for the species. Any species which falls under these three needs to be paid utmost importance, so that the species can be again reverted back to this near threatened and least concern. If the activities are being done positively for the critical endangered species, the very species can be placed under endangered. If the activities are being positive for these species which are present in the endangered list, then it will be again reverted back to the vulnerable list. If the conservative measures are too good, then again the vulnerable species can be brought under the near threatened. Means what? It is the degree of threatening. The arrow mark shows right from bottom to up. Right from here, it is the sign is given as negative and this is a positive sign. What is this one? Negative to positive sign means what? The degree of threatening. More the positive sign means what? More the threaten is there for the species. Now under this one, the first one is called as critically endangered. What do you mean by critically endangered species? Those species where they are about to extinct in their natural habitation. What is the criteria IUCN has given is for the critically endangered species? It said that if the 90% of the species are more than 90% of the species got already declined. What do you mean by decline? Nothing but they are degraded, they have lost their population. If more than 90% of the species are dying, are dead already in the past 10 years or in 3 generations, these are criteria. What is the criteria? If 90% of the species are being lost in just 10 years, nothing but 1 decade, in the last 10 years, or within 3 generations. Within 3 generation is one condition, another one is within or 10 years may be the condition. These are the two very important conditions. Within this time period, 90% of the species might have lost their population. This is what called as the criteria for enlisting any species under critically endangered. The best example for such type of species where they are, I'll give you one best example. The name of the animal called as pygmy hog. PYGMY is called as pygmy hog. Not only pygmy hog, you can find some of the other species like Himalayan brown bear. See, these are the very important species where right now they are under critically endangered condition. Means what? Their habitation got lost because this one their population is at high risk of extinction. This is the critical endangered. The next one is called as endangered list. What do you mean by endangered list? What is the condition here? Let us see the condition for the endangered list. When you are talking about critical endangered, the criteria is 90% of the species might have lost within the time period of either it may be 3 generations or 10 years. Now, if at all you are seeing the criteria here for the critically for the endangered list, now what can be said is if the species population is threatened more than 70%, means what? 70% of the species already died. 70% of the population within one species already died within a time period of again 10 years or 3 generations. This 10 years and the 3 generation is a common one, but if the threaten is more than 90, it's called as critically endangered. If it is 70%, it's called as endangered. And if it is more than 50%, it's called as vulnerable. These are the three very important threatening criteria for the species. Any species which is visible in these three criteria needs to be given utmost care. If it is more than 50% is called as vulnerable. If it is more than 70% is called as endangered. If it is more than 90% is called as critically endangered. And within the time period of either it may be 1 decade or 3 generations. These are the three very important criteria. Then comes to near threatened. Near threatened, as the name itself suggests that these species till this point of time there was not the species are not under threatened condition, but right now the threatening has started. What do you mean by threatening has started? Their population started reducing in number. This is called as near threatened, represented by NT. The last one is least concern. The name suggests as the same thing as least concern, means what? There is no need to have concern on this particular species. It's called as least concern, represented by LC. These are the very important criteria where IUCN used to maintain in releasing the red data list. All the species on the surface of the earth will be present in these 9 lists. Let us see India's important threatened species. As I said just now, there are three very important threatened list. One is critically endangered, the next one is called as endangered list, the last one is called as vulnerable. We'll be talking about these three list and the type of and the variety of species that are enlisted under critically endangered and the vulnerable in the Indian scenario. The first and foremost critically endangered species. Come on, let us see the critically endangered. We'll be going to only the critically endangered first, then we'll move to the endangered. The first and foremost species within the critically endangered is the Himalayan brown bear. This called as the Himalayan brown bear. This is the species. The image is also given here. The Himalayan brown bear, where it is otherwise called as red bear. This is the species which is found only in the Himalayan region, especially in the western part of the Himalayas, the Nepal Tibet region, the Pakistani region, even the Hindu Kush region, the Sulaiman Kirtar region of Pakistan. These are the areas where you can find the Himalayan brown bear. Why this species is right now critically endangered? Because its a habitat, it means what, it's the place of living is being threatened by both natural as well as human factors. The suitable habitat and the persecution by the human. The moment when the people come across this one, as because of the man animal conflict, where the animal is being killed on the spot. This is what the killing of the animal is being done not because of its muzzle or the flesh or something, but because of the fear the people are having. Whenever they come across this animal, they used to kill this animal. This is about the Himalayan brown bear, which is restricted to the northern part, especially the western part of Himalayan. The Himalayas, the western part of Himalayas in the northern India. The next very important species is the pygmy hog. This is the world's smallest pig. The maximum weight of the adult pig weighs just 8 kgs. Where do you find? This is normally found here in the subtropical grassland region. Such type of subtropical grasslands are present in the state of Assam. This species is a very important species where it is also called as the keystone species. What do you mean by the keystone species? If these species are not present there, the another species which are present in that locality, their population becomes critically endangered. Means what? Where do you find this one? This is a grassland, I said, in the state of Assam. What is the animal that is very popular in the state of Assam? Is the one-horned rhino. One-horned rhino, one-horned rhinoceros, and the buffaloes, the wild buffaloes, one-horned rhinos, the wild buffaloes. These are the species. Even elephants are present here in the national park called as the Kaziranga National Park. They're called as the one-horned rhino, wild water buffaloes, and the elephants that are present in the Kaziranga National Park of Assam. All these species are present in this national park. For all the species to survive, this very species called as a small pig that is present in that locality is very much required. What is the importance of this pygmy hog? Pygmy hog is such an animal where it used to burrow the land, makes the soil loose, therefore the grass can be grown very easily without any hardship. The grass roots can be penetrated deep because of the loosening of the soil by this pygmy hog. Therefore, the grass will be grown on a larger scale, due to which rhinoceros are feeding on, due to which elephants are feeding on, due to which even the buffaloes are feeding. Therefore, this very species is called as the keystone species. If this species become extinct, there will be a adverse impact on other species like one-horned rhinos and other animals. This is about the pygmy hog. Nothing but this is the smallest wild pig. Remember this one. This is very important. This can be a question. The very next interesting species is the flying squirrel. Normally, the squirrels will be running, walking, jumping from one place to another place, but this is the one is a unique squirrel that is present here in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Means what? In the eastern Himalayan region. In the eastern Himalayan, there is a national park, wildlife sanctuary, and even the tiger reserve. This very region is very important. What is the name of this region? Is called as Namdapha. Namdapha. Namdapha National Park is there. The Namdapha National Park, Namdapha Wildlife Sanctuary, even Namdapha Tiger Reserve. This is a very important protected area in this region where you can find this species called as the small squirrel that is present here, where it used to fly from one tree to another tree. This is called as the Namdapha flying squirrel. This is the highly endemic species that is found only here in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. It's a very important species, but such a species is right now is under threatened. Is the this species is being hunted for food by these tribal people. The next very interesting animal is called as the Malabar civet. Civet is just like a cat-like animal where it is nocturnal in nature. This species is nocturnal in nature. What do you mean by nocturnal? These species they will be coming out only during the night time. In the entire daytime they will be hiding or sleeping somewhere, but in the night time they come out for their food. This nocturnal animal is called as the Malabar civet, is native of Western Ghats, especially in the woody plains and hill slopes of evergreen rainforest. In the Western Ghats, the evergreen rainforest, in the wooded plains, and even the hilly slopes, this civet is present here. This is a very important Malabar civet, basically found here in the state of Kerala, and therefore the name called as Malabar civet. Not just in the Kerala, even to the southern part of Karnataka, the western Karnataka, southwestern part of Karnataka, where you can find this species. Normally, this is the species which is found here on the coconut plantation, but due to cutting down of the coconut trees in these areas for the growth of oil palm, which is being brought from Malaysia. The oil palm is not a native species of India. It is a equatorial species, but it is been brought by the administrators to India, and oil palm is being grown on a large scale by destroying the or cutting down the coconut plantation. Therefore, this particular animal is being threatened, and it is placed under critically endangered list. The next one is called as Sumatran rhinos. We know the rhinos rhinos. One type of rhino that is present in India is called as one-horned rhino. It's called as one-horned rhino. Likewise, in the entire globe, you can find 5 different types of rhinos. One is well aware. We people are well aware of one rhino called as one-horned rhino. The another type of rhino. What are the other remaining 4 types of rhinos? The second one is Sumatran rhino. Sumatra is a place that is present here in the Indonesia, in the Sumatran island region. In that region where you can find the rhinos called as one Sumatran rhinos. The 2 rhinos, the remaining. What are the remaining 3 rhinos? The next one is called as a very important Javan rhino. Javan rhino. Again, it is present here in the Indonesia, in the island called as Java. To the south of Indonesia, the island is called as Java. The rhinoceros that are present in the Sumatra are called as Sumatran rhinos. The rhinos that are present in the Java are called as Javan rhino. There is a difference in the genetical makeup of the Sumatran rhino and the Javan rhinos. Therefore, they are being considered as 2 different types of rhinos. Then, the third one is called as African. This is very important. Is called as the African white rhinos. Normally the rhinos are either maybe in the dark complexion or the brown complexion, but there are certain rhinos in Africa where they are called as the African white rhinos. Again, they are critically endangered. Only a few species are there. The people are killing, poaching that animal, and right now the governments of these African countries are protecting these white rhinos. The last variety of rhino is called as African black rhino. It's called as African black rhino. These are the five varieties of rhinos you can find here in the world countries. Out of this one, the important species that are found in India are, one is one horn rhino, the other one is called as Sumatran rhino. This Sumatran rhino in India has become critically endangered. It has become critically endangered. Where do you find it? Is found at the foothills of the Himalayas and in the northeastern India. This very important rhino, right, once upon a time it was in huge number. Right now, the Sumatran rhinos are critically endangered. You can count the number of rhinos right now. They are very very few in number right now. Coming to the next one called as the Kashmir stag, otherwise called as Hangul, Hangul. This Kashmir stag, nothing but is a deer species, is popularly called as red deer. It's called as red deer, which is a native here in the Kashmiri region. Because of the very great grass that is grown here in the region, the nutritious alpine grass that is grown in this region, once upon a time these stags are great in number, but right now due to the climate change and because of overgrazing by some other animals like sheep, especially the sheep, goats, the food has got a decline. Because of the declining food, now what happened, this species became the critically endangered species. This is found here in the mountains of the Kashmir Valley in the Chamba district of Himachal Pradesh. This Kashmir stag, otherwise called as the red deer, is basically found very close to the national park. There is a national park that is present here in the Kashmir called as Dachingam National Park. Very very important. Where do you find the Kashmir stag or the Hanguls in India? It is the Dachingam National Park of Jammu Kashmir. This is the important point here. You need to remember this protected area, and the species that is protected in this national park is Hangul. Now, this is the species called as Tarantula. What do you mean by Tarantula? Tarantula is nothing but the spider. What's the difference between the spider and the tarantula? Spiders normally that we find here in the indoors, maybe in the in-house, where they are very small in nature, with the same structure of a number of legs like this. Whereas tarantulas are larger spiders. And one such very important tarantula is called as Gutti sapphire ornamental tarantula. Very very important. Remember the name is called as Gutti sapphire ornamental tarantula. Where do you find here? This tarantula is basically found here in the state of Andhra Pradesh in the Nallamala forest. In the forest of Nallamala. What is this Nallamala forest? Nothing but the eastern Ghats of Andhra Pradesh. The eastern Ghats of Andhra Pradesh. In the eastern Ghats of Andhra Pradesh, this species is endemic. Once upon a time, this species is believed to be extinct. The environmentalists said that the species got extinct because of not finding this particular species for many years, where the scientists believe that the species got extinct, and this because of a number of unique colors that are present here, so much great colors that are present here, where this is otherwise popularly called as the peacock. It's called as the peacock tarantula. This is a very important and a very beautiful species that is present here in the Eastern Ghats region of Andhra Pradesh. And the current related news regarding this one is after almost 70 years of thinking like the species got extinct, recently it again surfaced in the Eastern Ghats near Sheshachal forest. Sheshachal forest, where you can find Lord Venkateshwara in the Thirumala Tirupati region. In the Tirumala Tirupati region, the name of the forest is called as Sheshachal forest, and even the name of the mountain ranges that are present they are called as Sheshachal mountains. Again, this gas surfaced. This species, as it became again, it was visible again. Now, from extinct from wild, again it was replaced in the critically endangered list. This is exclusively found in the state of Andhra Pradesh. The name of this animal is called as blue blue species are blue spider, peacock tarantula, the Gutti sapphire, ornamental tarantula. This is a very important species. This can be a question in the 2020 prelims. The next very important species is Jeddon's cursor. This is a small bird where this small bird is native of again the eastern Ghats of Andhra Pradesh. Right now, this species is critically endangered, and where it is located, if you at all you are talking about the eastern Ghats of Andhra Pradesh, these are entirely the eastern Ghats you can find here as a broken hill ranges like this. But which part of eastern Ghats where you can find again the same Sheshachal mountain ranges? Just now we have seen peacock tarantula in the Sheshachal mountain ranges. Just to the north of the Sheshachal mountains, you can find certain protected areas called as Lanka Malleshwara. It's called as Lanka Malleshwara Wildlife Sanctuary. In this Lanka Malleshwara Wildlife Sanctuary, you can find, see this one, Sri Lanka Malleshwara Wildlife Sanctuary, very close to again Tirumala Tirupati hills. This bird is being present here. This bird, where locally it is called as Kalivi Kodi. Locally, this bird is called as Kalivi Kodi, which is native of southern Andhra Pradesh districts like Kadapa. It is found in the districts of Kadapa, Anantapur, and Chittur. These are the three very important districts where you can find this species. This is exclusively found here in this region called as Andhra Pradesh. The next important species is white-bellied heron. This is a rare wetland bird species found in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Again, the very important national park, already we have come across this one, is called as Namdapha National Park. Wildlife sanctuary, then even tiger reserve. This region, it is a native place of this white-bellied heron. This species, due to the human activities, because of the degradation of the land, where the degradation of the wetlands, exploitation of the direct and the huge exploitation of this natural region, where the habitat is being destroyed. Due to this destruction of the habitation, this white-bellied heron got extinct. Became critically endangered. The Indian wild ass, which is native of Ran of Kutch. The question that was asked in the UPSC was on white ass. Already the question was there. The question goes something like this: there were no predators in this area, but the species got threatened. Which of the following species we are talking about? This type of species live in only the arid regions where there is no predator, but yet the species is endangered. This is the question. The question was something like this. This is what they are talking about, the Indian wildlife. This Indian wild ass is endemic to this region in the Ran of Kutch, the little Ran of Kutch, where you can find this one. Here you can find the invasive species, the plant species which is invasive, called as Prosopis, is called as Prosopis zulifora. The name of the species called as Prosopis zulifora, which is quite common in the entire Deccan Plateau region, where it is a thorn-bearing species. Almost all we people might have seen this one, but the scientific name is the Prosopis zulifera. This is the species. Whenever this particular species is found in any region, it shows or it exhibits the sign of desertification. And in the Rana of Kutch, you can find such extensive Prosopis zulifera species, and therefore this species, the invasive species, has squeezed all the moisture that is present in the soil. Therefore, the species of wild ass became less. This is what the wild ass, Indian wild ass, that is restricted only in this region. Also, this very Indian wild ass is being carefully breeded in the Tamil Nadu region. In the name of the zoological park is Arignar Anna Zoological Park. Arignar Anna Zoological Park is where the wild ass are being carefully breeded. And there is a very important tribe here in the Kutch region called as Maldari tribe. This Maldari tribe are the rarest of the Indian wild ass. The next species is Indian pangolin. There are 8 types of pangolins on this earth. Out of these 8 type of pangolins, 2 are present in India. One is called as the Indian pangolin. It's called as the Indian pangolin. The other one is called as the Chinese pangolin. This Chinese pangolin is present in the northeastern side of India. This is the northeastern part of India. These are the two very important varieties that are found here in this India, and they are restricted to the tropical forests. They are restricted to the tropical forest of India. Not only the tropical forest, even you can find some of the grasslands, the tropical grasslands of India, tropical forest and the tropical grasslands of India. That means what? In the temperate regions you can't find. Along the foothills of the Shivaliks, the foothills of Himalayas, along the foothills of the Himalayas you can't find this one. And in the humid region, of India, nothing but the eastern part of India, there they cannot be found here. But at the same time, you can find this one in the semi-arid and the arid region also. Almost all in the entire India, you can find this type of pangolins. Why the pangolin is very important? Could you able to see in the picture? You can find certain lines are there. These are the different lines that are called as scales. These are called as the scales of the pangolin. The scales of the pangolin are very rich in the medicated values. The medicinal values are present here. Because of this one, this pangolin is in the very high demand. Where there is a illegal trade is also happening here regarding the pangolin. Because of killing and the trading of the pangolin has become the critically endangered species. In India, you can find these pangolins on a huge scale in Madhya Pradesh. The very great number of pangolins can be seen here in the state of Madhya Pradesh. This is the region. And what is the current related development regarding this pangolin? Let us see the pangolin's current related part. See, this is the current related part. Every year in the third Saturday of February is celebrated as the World Pangolin Day. This is the one important bit. The World Pangolin Day is celebrated on every third Saturday of February. This year, this third Saturday of the February, they fall on 15th Feb. On 15th Feb, where we have celebrated the World Pangolin Day. In this celebration, where the government of China has claimed that this pangolin the scales of pangolin is having the medicated value which can cure even the deadly virus that is present in the world countries right now, where the coronavirus can be treated. This is one important bit. Again, at the same time, the very important one is the government of Madhya Pradesh. The Madhya Pradesh Forest Department has radio tagged Indian pangolins for the first time to learn their ecology. Means what? The data regarding the medicated facility and the values of these medicated things are not there for with the Indian government. Therefore, the government of India for the first time has gone for radio tagging, the radio tagging of this pangolin, so that we can study their ecology. This is the current related bit. How the question can be asked? The question can be asked like which of the following on which of the following species where the radio tagging was done for the first time in India? It is the Indian pangolin. The pangolins are the very important species because of their the medicated facilities that are present in the scales of the pangolin. This is the important one. The next very beautiful animal, this is called as the red pandas. They're called as red panda. These red pandas are highly endemic to the Himalayan region, especially the Darjeeling region of Himalayas, also in the state of Sikkim and in the northern Arunachal Pradesh. These are the areas where you can find this red panda. Red pandas belong to the bear family. They belong to the bear family. This is about the red panda. They are found in the tropical forest and they are highly endemic to the Himalayan region. This is the pandas you can find here in the Sikkim, Assam, the northern Arunachal Pradesh. The next endangered species. So here we have completed the endangered species like Indian wild ass. Then another one is called as the pangolin, the Indian pangolin. The third one is red panda. Coming to the fourth endangered species. The fourth endangered species is called as lion-tailed macaw. This is a monkey-like species. See the picture. This is the image of this lion-tailed macaw. This appears just like a monkey, but the face of this one is surrounded by completely the fur, which appears just like a lion. And also the tail, whenever you are seeing the tail is absolutely like that of the lion tails. Therefore, the name is called as lion-tailed macaw. This is endemic to the Western Ghats, especially to the southern side of Western Ghats, where you can find the state of Kerala and Karnataka, to a certain extent to the western part of Tamil Nadu. These are the areas where you can find the lion-tailed macaws. These are very important species and they are highly endemic to this region alone. These are the arboreal animals. They are called as arboreal. What do you mean by arboreal animals? They are nothing but most of their lifetime they will be spending on the trees. This is the arboreal animals because of the plantation. Due to the plantation of tea, rubber, coffee, where the trees are being cut off and the land is being cleared for the plantation. Therefore, their habitat got lost. Due to the habitation lost, these animals have become endangered. This is a highly endangered species of India. The next endangered species is thar. In fact, there are two types of thars in India. One in the subtropical region, another one is the tropical region. Nothing but one in the northern side of India, another one in the southern side of India. The northern thar, which is called as the Himalayan thar. This is the Himalayan thar. And in the southern side, where it is called as the Nilgiri thar. And in the entire world countries you can find there is another thar which is found in Saudi Arabia. Is found in the Saudi Arabia. These are the three varieties of thar you can find in the entire world. Out of this one, two varieties are there in India alone. One is called the Himalayan thar. The next one is called as the Nilgiri thar. The Nilgiri thar is the one which has become the endangered species. Again, it's because of habitat loss. Why the thar species got endangered? Because of the habitation loss. overgrazing by some other animals, illegal hunting that is happening here. Therefore, you can find the endangeredness for this species. This Himalayan thur is the one which is the state animal of Tamil Nadu. This is a very important word. The state animal of Tamil Nadu. This is the Himalayan thur. Coming to the vulnerable species. In the vulnerable community, the first one is called as the one-horned rhinos. Earlier, these one-horned rhinos were there in the endangered. Because of the best efforts made by the government of India, now the population of this one-horned rhino has increased. Therefore, right now IUCN has kept this one under the vulnerable category. This is a vulnerable category, the third threatening type of category, where this habitation here is the tall grasslands of India at the foothills of the Himalayas, that is the Tarai region. What is Tarai region? It is a humid region where you can find the waterlogging conditions here. Waterlogging conditions. In fact, at the foothills of the Himalayas, you can find two very important zones. One is the boulder zone, which is called as Bhabur zone. Then the moist region, which is called as the Tarai zone. This is the Tarai zone. TRA, Tarai zone. These are the two very important zones. In this Tarai zone of the Himalayas, where you can find these one-horned rhinos, and in fact, you can find they are restricted to the state of Assam. Right now, the carrying capacity of this Kaziranga National Park, the Kaziranga National Park, which is a habitation of one-horned rhinos, the carrying capacity of the Kaziranga has declined, due to which the population of these rhinos has been reducing. Therefore, the government of India has taken a special care and has introduced a program. Make note of this program. Again, this program is very, very important. The name of the program is called as Indian One-Horned Rhino Vision 2020. It's called as Indian One-Horned Rhino Vision 2020. Vision 2020. Because of this program, and under this program, a special task force is been appointed. What is this special task force? It is entrusted with the job of monitoring the poachers. Whoever is been visible in that locality has been given the shoot at sight orders. Because of this strict vigilance, what happened? The rhino population started increasing. Due to the increasing rhino population, where the population needs to be given proper space, the habitation needs to be there. As the rhino means Kaziranga National Park is declining in its carrying capacity, now the government of India has taken, under this program, has taken another decision to translocate. The name, means what the term is called as the translocate. What do you mean by translocation? Transporting the animals to the other habitation where the favorable climatic conditions are found. There the animal can survive in that locality where the transportation needs to be taken place. Such a translocation was taken place in the recent past. The translocation was happened to the another protected areas like Manas, another very important protected areas like one is Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, where the protection has taken place. Translocation has taken place. Then also, not only this Manas, Dibru Saikova, the name of the protected area is Dibru Saikova. Also, Orang National Park, also Pobitora. These are the different other habitations where the government of India has selected for the translocation of the rhinoceros. You need to pay attention even on this habitation. Anything can be a question here. These are the very important other locations where the translocation has taken place. Means or other protected areas where the one-horned rhinos are being transported under the project called as Indian One-Horned Rhino Vision 2020. The next very important mammal species where that is placed under vulnerable category is dugong. The scientific name itself is dugong dugong. It's called as dugong dugong. It is a herbivore which feeds on the seagrass. Therefore, it is popularly called as sea cow. This sea cow is found in the regions like Gulf of Mannar of India. Suppose if you see the map of India, this is the Gulf of Mannar. Also, you can find in the Gulf of Kutch, this is the area. Also, you can find another important region like the Andaman Nicobar. These are the three very important locations where you can find the dugong or sea cow in India. When you come across the world countries where you can find this dugong, dugong can be seen even in the other regions like the Gulf of Mexico, which is between the Central America and North America, Gulf of Mexico. Then you can find in the Caribbean Sea region, the Caribbean Sea region. Also in the Amazon basin. These are the important areas where you can find the dugong. After completing one very important organization called as IUCN, let us move to the second organization called as CITES. This CITES is nothing but the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. Means what? This convention is the monitoring body regarding the trade in the endangered species. Means what? Can there be any trade in the species? Yes, there can be a trade. Either it can be a plant product, either it can be plant product, or it can be animal product, where sometimes the trade takes place. The best example, the tusk of the elephants, or maybe the roots of the plants, or maybe some of the important leaves of the plants which are having highly medicated values. Whenever such a species is being traded illegally, which is the body entrusted to monitor that one? It is the CITES. CITES is nothing but the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora as well as Fauna. Means what? It will be taking care of both animals as well as the plants. This is a very important organization which is the monitoring body of international trade. This is also called as the Washington Convention. The question can be asked like Washington Convention is otherwise called as. Many people are very familiar with the term called as CITES, but they don't know about the Washington Convention since it had took place in the Washington. Therefore, it's called as the Washington Convention. It's a multilateral treaty. It protects the endangered plants and animals. It was drafted in the year 1963 under the aegis of IUCN. IUCN is the institution which is instrumental in bringing the organization called as CITES. This CITES was signed by the member parties in the year 1973 and entered into force from 1st July 1975. First of all, it was introduced here, the member countries signed here in this one, and finally it came into force in the year 1975. This is about the brief history of CITES. What are the functions, obligations of these sites? Sites is having the institution in all over the world countries where these countries will be giving certain inputs to the central body. The central body in turn will be taking the decision. Let us see the important functions of this one. To distribute the information, first of all, the first and foremost is the information dissipation that facilitate the identification of the specimen, whether it is vulnerable, whether it is endangered, whether it is critically endangered. If these species are being traded, then immediately who has to come into picture? It is the Convention on International Convention on Trade in the Endangered Species. The next very important one is the information relevant to other parties, several or all parties. Proposal to amend the appendix. What are these appendix? In fact, this CITES is having three appendix. Appendix 1, Appendix 2, Appendix 3. What happens when a species is been enlisted in the Appendix 1? What happens when a species is enlisted in the Appendix 2? And what if the species is enlisted in the Appendix 3? Where there are certain rules and regulations for this one. If any species is enlisted in the Appendix 1, there is a complete protection for the species. If the species is enlisted in the Appendix 2, where there are certain limited restrictions, then the third one, the least restrictions are there in case of trade regarding that particular species. These are the three appendixes you can find here. Then the function here is the proposal to amend. In the frequently these amendments will be there by shifting the species from one appendix to another appendix. Even the government of India in the year 2019, which is a current related part, has requested CITES to enlist some of the species from Appendix 2 to Appendix 1. What are those species? That will become the important question. The question can be asked like this. In the year 2019, Indian government has requested the CITES organization to shift the species from Appendix 2 to Appendix 1 in which of the following vulnerable or which of the following endangered species. Such type of questions can be there. We will be coming across all the species which are been recommended by the government of India to enlist from Appendix 2 to Appendix 1. When a species is kept in the Appendix 1, there is a complete protection for that species. Here comes the three appendices 1, 2, and 3. What do you mean by Appendix 1? It includes heavily threatened species of extinction of which trade is strictly prohibited. This is the key term. When the trade is strictly prohibited and when the trade is happening, those persons can be caught hold and they can be kept behind the bars. This is the protection that is given to the species under Appendix 1. And in the Appendix 2, what happens? It talks about those species which is trade is regulated to avoid exploitation with their incompatible with their survival. This means what? Certain restricted regulations are there. And the third appendix, it includes the species protected by the respective state. Means what? One individual state can regulate the export of the species from their country to other countries. These are the three very important appendices you can find here in the CITES organization. But the very great flaw here is, though it is legally binding agreement, the CITES, the parties, those are the parties where they are called as the conference of parties, where they will be meeting frequently. These parties who are signatory for the CITES agreement, they are legally binding, but this very organization, it does not ask the governments to bring domestic laws, This is the very important flaw of this organization. The next one is this is a strategic vision where the time period is from 2008 to 2020. Means what? By this 31st December 2020, this strategic vision is going to get end. And the signatories of these sites are called as the conference of parties. This conference of parties, they will be meeting regularly and they will be deciding what needs to be done, what needs not to be done. Where the very important action plans that took place, the milestones are the important action plans that took place here. One in the year 1994, 97, then again in the year 2016. These are the important milestones where the COP has taken a great decisions. In the year 1994, there was a very great introspection and the review of the commission and identified the deficiencies that are there within the convention, and they have strengthened the convention for the future. This is the very greater development that took place in the year 1994. When it comes to 1997, there was an action plan for implementing findings and recommendations of the review. Greater emphasis is being given to the biodiversity protection, and as the Convention on Biodiversity has given out the decade 2011-20 as the decade of biodiversity, where this has been accepted by the sites, and it has helped the biodiversity to get enhanced in the member countries. And in the year 2016, the main emphasis on sustainable development goals, which takes into account the contribution to the United Nations Millennium Development Goals and the conservation of the wildlife strategic plans to protect the biodiversity. These are all the very important strategic visions of CITES in between 2008 to 2020. Let us see the current related part of CITES. What can be a question here in the UPSC PT exam 2020 regarding CITES? The recent conference of parties number is 18. Means what? 18th meeting of conference of party held in August 2019 at Geneva, Switzerland. This was originally was planned in the Colombo, but because of some internal tussle there, where the problem was there for the internal security, therefore the venue has been changed here, and at Geneva, Switzerland, the COP18 took place. In this party, in this conference of parties, a very important development took place where the government of India talked about 6 important species of both flora as well as fauna. One flora species and 5 fauna species. What are those flora species and what are those fauna species? You need to remember all these things. Let us discuss first of all the flora species. India proposed to remove rosewood. This is a very important development. In fact, rosewood is a vulnerable species under the IUCN list. Under IUCN, it is enlisted as vulnerable species. This rosewood is an important species that is endemic in India, where right from the times immemorial, the northern India and even many parts of India where the furniture is being made of the rosewood, such a very rosewood was placed under Appendix 2 in the sites. When Appendix 2 means when the rosewood is placed in the Appendix 2, export of such species becomes very difficult, where the restricted conditions, under restricted conditions only we need to export the rosewood. Therefore, the government of India can export less or limited number and thereby getting less revenue. In order to get more and more revenue, the government of India wants to remove or denotify rosewood from the Appendix 2 of sites. This is a very important proposal kept by the government of India regarding the flora species. Coming to the fauna species, the fauna species are very very important. It has talked about 5 fauna species. What are those 5 fauna species? Let us talk about the first one, where the government of India requested CITES to shift the category of the species from Appendix 2 to Appendix 1. In case of flora, it is asking to denotify the rosewood from Appendix 2 itself. But whereas in the case of fauna, regarding 3 very important species, the government of India has kept a proposal to CITES asking these 3 animal species needs to be given greater importance of protection by placing them into Appendix 1. What are those species? Those species are 3. All the 3 species comes under the vulnerable category of IUCN. They are number 1, small clawed otters. The small clawed otters are being traded for their medicated values. The skin is highly medicated. Even the oil that is been extracted is also useful for medical purposes. On the same lines, you can find some other species like smooth-coated otters. These are the two otter families where one is called as a small clawed otters, the next one is called as smooth coated otters. Both they are under IUCN vulnerable list. The third one is called as Indian star tortoise. This Indian star tortoise is present here in the east coast of India, off the coast of Orissa, then into the Andhra Pradesh, especially the Vizag region, then even into the even up to the Maya Gulf of Mannar region where the star tortoise are present. These star tortoise are being highly smuggled by these Chinese and the Mongoloid people because of their very great demand in the Hong Kong market. The people believe that this star tortoise will be keeping them highly energetic, and it is having some exotic characters. Because of this one, there is a high demand for the star tortoise. Also, there is another importance for the star tortoise. These star tortoise are kept as a pet animals. The people believe that whenever you are keeping these animals in your home, it gives great good luck for them. This is the star tortoise. Therefore, there is a very great illegal trade that is happening regarding these three animals. In order to protect these three animals, the government of India has asked CITES to place them in the Appendix 1. This is about the three species. Then the coming to remaining two species. What is this remaining two species? What are these two species? One is gecko gecko. What is this gecko gecko? Gecko gecko is appear just like lizard. It is just like our house lizard. This gecko gecko is otherwise called as toyak gecko. Toke gecko is called as toke gecko. Gecko gecko is otherwise called as toke gecko. What is this toke gecko? It is just like a lizard, which is very common lizard that is found here in our houses. But over this lizard, you can find bright spots. Some spots will be there, colorful spots will be there. This Toko gecko is having a very high demand in the Chinese traditional medicines. Therefore, there is a very great illegal trade that is happening here regarding this Toke gecko, which is considered to be least concern in the Indian market, but whereas it is having very great demand in the Chinese market. The next one, which is very important, is called as wedge fish. This wedge fish as such is placed under the critically endangered list, but this wedge fish is in high demand in the eastern market, especially Japan, China, Korea, in all these markets. Therefore, this fish is being smuggled on a huge scale by these illegal traders. Therefore, the government of India asked these two species to be placed under Appendix 2. In India, these two species are present in abundance, in very great abundance. Therefore, till recently, we won't consider them as vulnerable or endangered species. But in the recent past, because of the climate change effect, because of the pollution levels that are present in the water level, this wedge fish became critically endangered. Right from then, the government of India is pressurizing the CITES organization to keep this one under Appendix 2 of CITES. This is the current related part regarding the CITES. The next important organization regarding the wildlife protection and trade is TRAFFIC, TRAFFIC. This TRAFFIC stands for Wildlife Trade Monitoring Network. What is the major concern of this TRAFFIC? The major concern of the TRAFFIC is to ensure trade. See this one, the aim of this organization is to ensure the trade in the wildlife. The trade in the wildlife is not a threat to the conservation of nature. This is the main motto behind the TRAFFIC. One organization like CITES talks about the illegal trade that is taking place in the endangered animals, and this another organization is talking about it is ensuring the trade. It ensures the trade, and It says that the trade in the wildlife is not a threat to the conservation of the species. Who is responsible for this traffic? The two important founding members of this one is WWF, World Wide Fund for Nature. The other one is called as IUCN, International Union for the Conservation of the Nature. It was founded in the year 1976 by these two organizations, and the headquarters is located in the UK at the place called as Cambridge. It is founded in the year 1976, but it's a print mistake. It is simply is given as 1979, but in fact it is 1976. Here it is written right, but it is 79. Somehow it went wrong. It should not be 79. It should be 76. It is having its headquarters in the Cambridge, UK, and also having offices located in the 15 strategically important locations. One is Africa, Asia, then Americas, both North America and South America, then Europe and Oceania. Oceania is nothing but the countries like the continent countries like Australia, New Zealand, and the other Southwest Pacific Islands. Southwest Pacific Islands. These are the areas where you can find the offices of this one. This traffic is having two very important works. What are the two very important works? One is to promote the to promote the trade in the wildlife. CITS is the one, it restricts the illegal trade. CITS one is the which restricts the illegal trade, but here traffic is the one, it promotes the trade in the wildlife on one side, and also it it is having another very important work activity to combat trafficking in wildlife. Means what? It is having the activity of this one, at the same time it promotes trade. This promoting of the trade in the wildlife is called as green stream. This is very important. It's called as green stream. Whereas the combating the trafficking in the wildlife is called as red stream. If there is a question like which of the following organization is having the two streams like green stream and the red stream as the objective of that particular organization, then you need to go for traffic. Traffic is having two objectives. One is called as the green stream objective, another is called as red stream. What do you mean by green stream? Green stream is nothing but the promotion of trade in the wildlife. And what do you mean by red stream? Protecting the illegal transportation of wildlife. Means what? Combating the trafficking in the wildlife. See again the same explanation, whatever the explanation that is being given in the previous slide, the same is being given here. The mission is nothing but to ensure the trade. Then again the leading non-governmental organization, this is a leading non-governmental organization. The third point here that is given is the traffic works involves research, publications, the influential reports, projects, education, outreach and advocacy of the issue of the wildlife trade. These are the focus areas of the traffic. Coming to the current related aspect, what is this traffic and how the question can be asked regarding the traffic in our PT exam. If we are talking about the current related aspect, you can find the two very important things here. There are certain campaigns. In fact, there are two very important campaigns. One is called as Don't Buy the Trouble. This is the one. Don't Buy the Trouble campaign is the one which is bringing awareness to the customers or to the people who are basically the tourists. When they are moving around from country to country, If these people are buying something which is not which is a restricted product, maybe a part of the animal or maybe the part of the restricted plant, if they are buying, then the traffic is giving the awareness, don't buy such a products, by giving the campaign name as don't buy the trouble. This is a very important and a successful program started since 2018 at airports and tiger reserves, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and all the travel agencies, schools, colleges, where the campaigning was being done on a huge scale. If there is a question like what are the two important campaigns of traffic, or sometimes the question can be asked like don't buy the trouble is a very important awareness campaign by which of the following organizations like IUCN, then traffic, then CITS, and they may be giving some other organization like WWF. You need to go for traffic. This is one campaign. Let us see the other very important campaign, which is again very important. One campaign here is don't buy the trouble. The next campaign, let us see the next campaign. The latest campaign is Wanted Alive. See the names. The names are very fascinating names has been given here. One is Don't Buy the Trouble and the next one is called as Wanted Alive. What is Wanted Alive? Wanted Alive is a series on 4 Asiatic big cats. This is very important. What do you mean by 4 Asiatic big cats? They belong to the cat family. One is tiger. The other one is called as leopard. Then snow leopard. The last one, the clouded leopard. These are the very important species that are found here in India, where the Indian government has gone for second campaign under the Traffic India. The second campaign is called as Wanted Alive. They are talking about the 4 very important big cats. All they are threatened by the illegal trade. All these big cats are threatened by the illegal trade. Therefore, this is a campaign to encourage the people not to go for purchasing of any of the body parts of these animals. If at all you are purchasing any body parts, then again you are inviting trouble by yourself. This is the campaign. This is the campaign one where it encourages the international collaboration to fight wildlife crime. Then, after talking about the two campaigns, let us move to the another important aspect here. Traffic played a key role in bringing together the South Asian countries through the organization called as SAWAN. SAWEN. All the South Asian countries are being brought together with the organization called as SAWAN. It stands for South Asia Wildlife Enforcement Network. This is an intergovernmental meeting hosted in Bhutan at a city called as Paro, P-A-R-O. Paro town in the Bhutan in the year 2011. The main aim of this initiative is to have the countries collaborate and cooperate to fight wildlife crime in the region. This is about the SAWAN, which is a very important organization which is related to traffic. This is about the 3 very important institutional network like IUCN, then CITS, and the last one traffic. These are the 3 very important organizations which are related to the biodiversity. Thank you. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.